Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're diving into some iron testing today. So every one of these irons is going to be placed at 30 degrees aloft.
Same loft.
Make sure we kind of get that in there because you guys will know in the spec sheets that all the, irons can often come at different lofts. The one that needs the most adjustment is the ZX7, which comes at 28 degrees. So we think that testing this at 30 degrees is very relevant because lower handicap players who tend to get quite a lot of forward shafting, low ball flight, I could see a lot of people adding some loft to these, reducing offset. Something I've thought about myself. I wonder what the ZX7 would look like a little bit weak. I don't play my irons as strong anymore at all, so I like to get a little bit more spin. So I'm really curious to see how that one performs when it's an even playing field on the loft front.
And then people can see what the head design is doing independent of the loft, because we've seen that in tests before. When we put them at the same loft, the head CG location should still separate the clubs in spin and launch.
Definitely. Talking about shafts for you specifically, Dynamic Gold X7 is still the shaft of choice. You had a really good year with that last year.
That's great. By far the best I had hit my irons ever, so I have no interest in changing out of X7s. If something came out, I would try it, but I was very happy with that. Interesting to see Rory was.
That's where I
kind of looked at that and I went, that's kind of interesting to see him do that.
I think it's going to be a trend. People will move more towards X7.
Out of Project X or just out of anything?
More out of Project X.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I think, that type of Project X70, C-Taper 130, those really, really stiff, stout feeling shafts. I think X100 has a slightly different feel from X7.
And you've said that to me before, the butt diameter being different, it changes the perception of your feel. I've liked it even for that reason. It's made the grip play a little bit larger for me. It kind of helps me not turn it over as much. So there's a lot of good stuff about this. I'm pretty sure that they'll stay in there for another year.
Agreed. Okay, let's kick us off here. We're out at Pebble Beach, hole number 5.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous, 200 yards. So if we do the little flyby here, give you guys a look at what we've got. So pretty small, well, a reasonable target. I wouldn't say small, but it's kind of tucked in the back
really
portion of it.
Nice.
That's really nice. That's the play. You're playing in the AT&T. You're standing up here,
looking at that ocean.
A little wind in your whiskers, and you go, "What I do?" You just play slightly left of the pin here.
More aggressive. That's when you get brave after the first one. Ooh. Hello.
Soft bounce off the fringe.
Very nice feel and sound these have. I think it really will remind people from like an aesthetic and sound perspective. It's going to feel and look like a blade, I think.
Sounded really well hit. Just tugged it a fraction.
Catch a piece.
It did as well.
Yeah. Take it.
It's a beauty.
I don't feel like I'm hitting them perfect, but reasonably forgiving. I mean, they're not punishing me on. That was probably a bit of a heel strike. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have done a whole lot of negative, does it?
Okay, 921 Tour.
Different look for sure. I'd address.
Yeah, what looks specifically different?
I would say the toe section of the club looks a bit higher. The heel is a bit higher too. So maybe just like a taller blade height.
Right.
A little bit more offset. That's what I'm noticing mainly.
Oh, handsome flight. Could be close, that one.
Get up there, ball. Yeah.
A soft bounce, but...
This is nice so far. These feel nice.
Good swing. Sounded like a really solid one, that one. Highly desirable.
I don't think I'm exactly going to shock anyone, but I do think it's noticeably easier to hit this and the JPX. I know I said the MC was more forgiving than I thought. I don't go back on that, but these are easier to hit, these two.
Even just looking from the behind view, and you see the intricacies and where the sort of pieces have been added and carved away, and obviously the mass move towards the toe side for a little higher MOI. There's definitely a little bit more tech, probably only rivaled by the internal tungsten in a T100.
Right.
In terms of this test. So if there's a forgiving element to it, you're probably looking at ZX7 and T100. Obviously T100S is another option.
Right.
If you wanted the stronger loft version. This is 28 loft form and the T100S.
Yeah.
Both good options as well.
I totally agree. I also think they both hide it quite well. I think, especially now that you've bent these a bit weak, this is one of the better looking irons at address that we've tried.
I really like the shape of them. Okay.
Miura.
Yeah, a little bit more of a niche product in the Miura 801, but I had to add it in there because I just think if there was ever a cavity back player's iron that was designed for you, it might be this chap.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Look at that sole. Look at the little pre-wear right at the front of that.
So nice.
So good.
At address, I would say it reminds me of the P7-MC a bit. However, it's more angular in the toe.
When you were talking about how much you liked that shape of the P7-MC, I thought to myself, I wonder what he'll think of the 801, because it's got a marginally thicker top line.
It does, yeah. It's not by much, to be fair.
Just a little bit.
Your eye just sees it a bit differently, I think, because it's a bit more pointed here. I thought P7-MC really rounded that toe off.
Yeah, you're right.
But other than that, they're very similar looking. And I think the top line would still, for most people looking at a small cavity, it's certainly not too thick.
My concern when I first heard of this one coming was, are they going to go too thin? I love that they've actually went a little bit more generous in that top line. And by generous, I don't mean thick by any means. Like no one who's looking at this category of iron is going to see this and go, oof, avoid that like the plague.
It's realistic though. Like it looks nice, but I don't look at it like I'm going to miss the ball kind of thing.
Definitely.
It's really nice. I mean, the person who is the traditionalist will look no further. However, they will pay for it. You will pay for it, but it feels extremely good.
That's a goodie.
Yep, that one's nice too.
Okay, Matty boy, great job. It's a lot of shots. Lot of shots. We've picked those 5 for a reason.
Yes.
Because we expected what we have found, which is they are all, when spec'd out, exactly the same. They're all pretty similar.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily tell the ball flight apart without a launch monitor visually, unless you had a really trained eye. The actual experience of hitting them is quite different. I think the look and the feel and the forgiveness levels, but it is quite amazing when you put them at the same loft, how similar they can be in launch and spin. Really
tight tolerances on the flight. I mean, there wasn't really a big difference in apex. You can kind of see, you know, orange and yellow just at the top. You can see purple and blue in the middle there, and then you can see the red kind of at the bottom. So those are kind of related to the launch and spin windows.
Definitely, you could, and I felt that with JPX. I kind of felt like I was getting a little bit more height. It only turned out to be a few feet, but it felt like the ball was getting elevated a bit easier.
Yeah,
so if someone's looking for the easy to hit club out of this, I kind of think it's JPX or Srixon.
5 gorgeous irons,
really nice.
And I think 5 great contenders if you're looking at the player's forged cavity.
And that's important to say. There's other players' irons, and people may ask, where's P7-70, where's even the new Apex Pros? I think we wanted to stick with not hollow-bodied, more traditional construction. I know that T100 and ZX7 have more tech. It's not a hollow-body tech iron, though.
Definitely. Yeah. And we like to bunch these tests, and we do have one coming up that's more specifically on the hollow-bodied irons. We have Apex Pro 770s. There'll be some Cobra irons in there. There'll be a few other contenders if we can get our hands on them as well. So this is kind of probably the first of maybe 4 tests. I can see us doing a refresh of the blade.
Yes.
This one, a kind of a hollow body cavity, sort of player's cavity, and then sort of into the game improvement side of things. Well, guys, hopefully that's a decent and digestible breakdown as to this little category. Lots of you are going to be looking at these irons. I think specifically, to me, the ones that are still going to be top of mind, ZX7, I expect that one to be the #1 bestseller at TXG this year. I fully expect that. I think that's going to be incredible. That one with the T100, I don't expect sales to really dip too much on that. And the other ones will have their own fair share when the time is right for our fitters. Okay, guys, important to understand when we're doing this testing, we are pairing up all the components together. Matt's shaft, the Dynamic Gold X7. The golf ball that would really complement this test as well, the Pro V1X, something that's going to spin a little bit more. Give us that flight that we're really going to complement these particular ones. So trying to really show you guys, isolate just the head, just the characteristics of the head, the same loft, the same lie, everything the same apart from the tech in the head. So you guys can see exactly how they compare when tested like this.
Yeah, I think this is a really good test.
Good. Yeah. Excellent. All right, stay tuned for those other tests. We will see you again soon.